Bach, are you there for us?
I'm right here. Yes, I
Hi,
am.
how are ya?
I am great.
Good,
I'm
good.
really happy to see all of you. I love that story, the Aloha Dulce. That's a great story. I really love the fact that Avini products have so many cutting edge, tip of the spear, tip of the way that we as natural health practitioners do. We're always looking for something that's right on the cutting edge. And that's what I've been doing for the last 50 years that I've been in practice as a naturopathic health practitioner. And because of my friend, who was also one of my patients, clients, her name is Brooke Peterson. She introduced me to Avini Health back at the end of January this year. And the thing that she told me about that got my attention was the Plus Relief, because she was telling me that I ought to listen to this three-way call, this ABC call. And it happened to be with Diane Chasick. And also I got to talk on a three-way with Tony Abieta. And so it really turned out that I just perked up my ears when I knew that everybody who ever calls me to come in for a treatment, very few call and say, well, I just think I need to come in preventatively. They always want to come in because something is bothering them. It's either some type of discomfort or misery or allergy, eye itchy or scratchy, or some type of skin issue or something, but it's always something that is a little more serious. They joke about the fact that if some of the people I've been seeing here in this town, a little town north of Yosemite, not too far from Robin, where it's the gold rush country, Sonora and Jamestown, California. I've been here in practice for 43 years, and I came here from Guatemala, where I had graduated as a naturopathic doctor in 1973. So this is my 50th year of being in practice, and I've probably seen 100,000 clients in my office, and I am grateful to all of them because I always want to help, and everybody I work with or see, I always adopt them and they become part of my family. And everybody is, I'm basically, my addiction in life is helping people. That's what I do. And anyway, I am really happy that Plus Relief was the entering wedge for me, because if it hadn't been for that perked up my ears, they said, oh, we have zeolite. I go, oh, I know all about zeolite. I've known about zeolite for 20 or 30 years. I hear about it, and it just didn't get my attention. But what really got my attention was, what can we do for misery? And so I got the whole kit with everything in it, and then I started trying it out. So one of the first people that I tried it on was a friend of mine named Les, and I had him come into my office, which happens to be here in my home in Jamestown. And he was in a lot of misery, and his color was very gray. He was very weak and wobbly. He wasn't walking well. And I was really worried about him. And so it turned out that I just said, here, open your mouth, Les. And I gave him some sprays of the Plus Relief. And then I thought, wow, oh, I have heard that zeolite can help with cardiac issues. And it kind of looks like his heart is involved in something going on right now. So I had him open his mouth and I gave him a dropper full of Cell Defender. And then I had him lay down and I did a lot of acupressure and different treatments and things to kind of help his circulatory system. And then it turned out that within a few minutes, he goes, you know, I think I'm feeling better. And his color was getting better. And so I said, well, I think you need to take both of these bottles home with you. And I handed him the one I had in my hand, and I handed him the other Cell Defender. And I said, just do this every hour. And 3 days later, and he did, 3 days later, Les came back into my office again, and he was standing up straight, and he was walking in a steady gait, and his color was all better. And then he had told me before, back when I saw him on Friday, so this from Friday to Monday, he had said that his doctor had found a very concerning big black spot on his lung in the CT scan. and that he was going to be scheduled to get a biopsy on that lung in 3 weeks. So I said, well, I guess we're going to go with the crisis dose, and we're going to have you take this every hour, around every time you are awake. Just keep this in your pocket and do it every hour, and use the spray also for the pain, for the discomfort that he was in, which was a lot, very like long-term misery for his back problems. So anyway, he turned out that 3 days later, he came in looking really good. He kept doing that every hour crisis dose, the Marcy dose of Cell Defender. And he all of a sudden came in within another week and said, you know, I don't even feel like smoking anymore. And he had been smoking 3 packs a day for over 60 years and was all of a sudden a non-smoker, just like that. And he said in all the years he had tried to quit smoking, he had never been able to. So then it turns out that 3 weeks later, he went and had his appointment for his biopsy, and they went and did a CT scan. They said, we can't find anything. There's nothing there to biopsy. And it was only 3 or 3.5 weeks that it happened. So it turns out that now we are really having a lot of confidence. I feel confident that the people that I see that walk through my door, whether it be the circulatory system, like we were just hearing from Pam, the whole thing about the fact that the heart and the lungs have to work together, and that's very important to get the blood to go where it needs to go. One of my sayings that I've told my clients for years is perfect circulation is perfect health. And that's not just that the blood has to get where it needs to go. It also means that the quality of the blood and the red blood cells and the way the red blood cells are passing through those little capillaries, one cell at a time, have to fit through those tiniest capillaries. And the fact that those blood cells, the red ones and the white ones and the T cells and all those things that are contained in the blood have to be healthy, and they have to feed the cells, and they have to also eliminate the toxins. All of that is part of the category of perfect circulation. It's not just the blood getting where it needs to go and pumping like it's supposed to with the heart, but it's also the quality of the blood that creates what we need. So it turns out that every system is affected by our Avini products in a really good way. In addition to the circulatory system, we also have the nervous system, the brain, the spinal column, all the nerves that go throughout the whole body. All of those are really important to have functioning properly. And so when I found out that Rick Deitch had done all of this research to improve people's health, that he had drugs set up to be in FDA clinical trials, for a specific disease that's related to a famous baseball player. That disease is being affected by these drugs that are in clinical trials. I was excited to hear that in the meantime, because those aren't available yet for those purposes, in the meantime, we have Plus Relief and Cell Defender, and that those 2 items can be used internally and also externally in the case of the Plus Relief to be able to give the body some of those same channels of where those nerves are flowing to get down to where they need to go and give messages to the muscles that need more impulses so that they aren't having weakness and disability. And that in the meantime, we've found out that those can be used. The ones we have right now, we don't have to wait for drugs to come out in the future. And also the immunoglobulins that are the ones that are contained in our Immunity mushrooms are the ones that are capable of taking on the job of giving the muscles a stronger effect. So what we talk about is that immunoglobulins, instead of having to be blood products that are extracted from some other human's blood and then reinserted into a person, we don't know where that blood is coming from. We're not too sure that we want other people's blood products inside of us. In most cases, I would say no to that unless I absolutely had to. But it turns out that our immunity mushrooms are the ones that we can use instead to raise our own immunoglobulin levels and to do the same type of healing of helping the body to a healthy body to heal itself in many different categories. So the nervous system is also something that we are talking about with brain issues related to the autistic spectrum. So my sister has 2 granddaughters that are 3 years old. They're twins, and they have been using Cell Defender, and they're working really well with increasing their speech, their vocabulary, their cooperation, their ability to have all of the different trainings, like going to the bathroom where they're supposed to, and all of those things that they were being resistant to, and having behavioral episodes that were quite loud. And because there's 2 of them, they could really make a ruckus. Those have just calmed down, and it was only within 5 days that those changes were noticeably improved. And then our 16-year-old niece from another sister's granddaughter also is in the spectrum and was having severe behavioral issues at high school with an assistant in a special education track that she's been in since she was little. And it turns out that she also has started to completely change her behavior and her ability to not be so sensitive and not to have these outbursts and not to have to call the parents to come and pick her up at school because she's had an accident in her clothes and needs to go home and change. All those things have completely changed in the time that she's been taking Cell Defender. And we're so grateful because now she's a beautiful young 16-year-old girl who is pleasant to be around. And even her mother is just going, wow, I never thought I'd see the day that I'd have this pleasant daughter. So anyway, we really are grateful for all the changes that we see happening in our own family. And we have this mom that's 100 years old and 8 months. So she'll be turning 101 here in a few months. And she had trouble with her eyes, where she was going to have to go and have surgery on her eyes from vision problems. And we started giving her Cell Defender and Nano Silver in a little spray bottle and just spraying it on her eyes on the outside. And all that kind of irritated tissue and the cloudy vision has cleared up now. She's completely seeing, and she's really grateful. And she's just giving glory to God. She's a very godly person that she prayed and God answered her prayer because of these products that have helped her. And so we have everyone from a 4-week-old kitten that had eye infections, who is now completely blossomed out with just Cell Defender and Nano Silver inside and outside, using it as a drops. We give it right to her in her mouth. And now she's a beautiful 3 times the size kitten that's gorgeous. And then all the way to 100-and-a-half-year-old mom who's also gotten the benefits. So every age is affected. We have the whole spectrum. And also the liver spots and the things that Dulce was talking about, those are just all disappearing. And we're all kind of those spotty, freckly Irish descent people. And those darker spots that have been there for years, all of a sudden they're just disappearing. And my stepdaughter had, even though she's 40 years old, she always was having outbreaks of acne, even at this age. And so she started spraying Nano Silver on her face every day as part of her skin routine. And her skin is beautiful and all cleared up. And she's so thrilled because it's the first thing that's ever worked for her. And then the other systems of the skeletal system with the bones, that we know that all of the different types of heavy metals that get in the way of the bone structure, that those are the ones that you have to remove those obstacles out of the bones in order to have your bone density get stronger and to prevent fragile bones, which is something that has run in our family for many generations. And we're grateful that we're now able to prevent that. So I just have way too many stories to tell to fit it all in. but we have the digestive system that it enhances from one end to the other with the Plus Fiber, the Cell Defender, with the Immunity mushrooms, with the Nano Silver. My daughter-in-law is someone who had been fighting an internal cellular problem that was affecting her digestive system, and the Nano Silver has really helped her with kind of an internal mold and some things that had been hitchhiking in her that she didn't want to have inside anymore that are being released. And she's so happy about that. And reproductive systems for men and for women, not having to get up so much at night for men, having the kidneys be unburdened, the liver being unburdened from all of the extra stress of having to do the detoxing by itself. Even the skin, because our skin is one of our biggest elimination organs. If those little rashes and those little scaly things or outbreaks or pimples, any of that type of thing, is usually because toxins are trying to come out our skin. And so when we unburden the toxins from the inside, the skin doesn't have to do that big job anymore. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who has made this company happen. Thank you, Rick Deitch and Neil and Doug and everyone who has worked hard to make this keep being available for all of us. And because of the way it's lifted our mental attitude also and cleaned out what's in the way of our brains, instead of waking up overwhelmed and worried and depressed and a little concerned about what the day is going to bring, we now all wake up happy and giggling and excited about life. So thank you, Avini, and thank all of you for what you have shared.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Donna. We appreciate you and what you're doing for the world to make it a better place, and all that you have learned and passing on to all of us and all of your clients and your family. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for all of that you shared. Is very valuable. And I know this will be a great recorded call also to get out. So thank you, Howard, for that.
I wanted to say something about the eyes too. I have been watching people's eyes here in the Zoom calls, and sometimes people get right up close and I can see their irises, and I do iridology, and I was going, wow, I can see the healing signs. I was looking at Darren's eyes actually, and they were looking so bright and clear. And I'm thinking, wow, he's really detoxing. And you can see that in their eyes when the iris is starting from a darker color and then it gets lighter and bluer and all these beautiful healing lines appear. I know that whatever is going on in there, it's really working.
Yep, absolutely.
I have a question for Donna.
Yes. Go ahead, Rachel.
Question, Donna. So you said you take detox and nano silver and you put it together and then you spray the eye?
Yes, especially when we were doing it to my stepmother, my 100-and-a-half-year-old mom. She's the one who we were doing that with because she didn't really like having it dropped in her eye directly. So we would say, just blink, blink, and we would spray it with the Nano Silver bottle because it's a nice fine spray. But we would put about 1/4 Cell Defender and 3/4 Nano Silver. And that ratio seemed to be the best one that really healed and helped her eyes to heal themselves.
Okay. Would that be good for like any eye issues kind of?
It's especially good for allergy types of things when you're feeling itchy and burny, or you've been exposed to some type of chemical or something. You can use that spray and just blink your eyes while you put it close to your eyes, and it just kind of goes in there a little bit, and it doesn't have to be dropped in there directly. And yes, Lorena, it's good for dry eyes also.
All right, we're going to go ahead and we will hang around for questions if she can hang around a little bit longer, but go ahead and stop this for us, Howard. That would be great, the recording. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody that shared today. I really appreciate it.